And Action News Now reporter Spencer Joseph has been surveying both the damage from the campfire and the areas that are burned. One of those areas now tonight, of course, Cherokee along Highway 70 in the area of Butte Valley. Here's a look.
I'm along Highway 70 where firefighters for the better part of the last 3 hours have been fighting the flames behind me. Now, at one point, these flames were about 200 feet high in the air, but it has since subsided. There are probably 50 to 100 engines in this area that we've been watching. And one of the most important firefights I can show you as I step behind the camera is that of this house right down in this valley right here. Let me go ahead and zoom in for you. Now, at one point, there was probably about 20 fire engines around this home, and flames were creeping right up to the driveway. Now, you can see a lot of fire personnel still down there. As I zoom in even further, you can see that right there looks like a CAL FIRE forestry unit, and then if I pan this way, there's another unit back behind these trees over here. Now, this home was very close, honestly, to burning down. You could see all the embers around it. You could still see some flames in the area, but firefighters fought back flames, and actually, I watched them from this vantage point save this house. Now, the fire has moved a little bit more up into this canyon here. You can see the bright orange glow from in this canyon. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in so that you can take a little bit closer of a look. Every once in a while there'll be a big flare-up, but nothing like the 200-foot flames we saw in this area earlier. Now, to give you an idea of where the fire personnel are kind of tucked in up here, you can actually see two units kind of tucked back in this canyon over here. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. They look to be fighting maybe a very specific part of the spot fire. You could see a lot of embers rising up there, but you could see the unit just tucked back in here. Basically, all you can see of these, oh, it looks like there's 3 or 4 units back here. So all you can really see of these fire engines are their flashing lights, and you could just see them through this area. I'm going to go ahead and back out one more time and give you a look up on the top of this ridge. Now, this is where a lot of embers are being kicked up. Now, we talk about how many times these embers can travel for miles, and you can really see how much it's kicking off of what have you back here. It looks like maybe there could be some trees or something back here that's really kicking off as many embers as possible. Just take a look at that. You could see how many and how far they actually are going. Now, this is one of the more active areas of the fire, but again, there's so many fire engines in this area. A lot of them, you can't even see where they're tucked into. You know, you just see them pop up every once in a while, and you see their flashing lights go up to the top of this ridge or in a different area. You can see just how many embers are being kicked off of this part of the fire. I'm just going to hold on this for a moment and watch it unfold. Watch the drama of the flames creeping up this hillside unfold just briefly. You could see that, you know, every second it seems to get brighter and brighter, and that's because the flames are working their way up large trees. And you know, it's a situation like this where you may get some sort of massive flare-up of a fire where you have it built up, or the fuel type kind of runs out and then it doesn't burn as hot anymore. So either way, firefighters are in this area watching this part of the fire very carefully. As I pan back this way, you could still see them in this kind of valley watching that area. I'm going to go ahead and pan back one more time to show you what's left of where this fire was most active a few minutes ago. Excuse me, more like a few hours ago. This fire, or at least this part of the fire, hasn't been incredibly active for a few hours, but right when I first got here at about 6:30 this evening, you could really see these 100, 200-foot flames going up in the air. There's a really big flare-up. You could see just incredible how fast that just erupted right in front of our eyes. You can see how many embers are being kicked off of it. And this is incredible to catch on camera. You exactly like I was talking about, you could see how big the flames get and how many embers just get kicked off, and then it'll just die right back down and be calm for several more minutes, and it can happen at a moment's notice. This really illustrates to you how fast these flames can just go 100 to 200 feet in the air. And you can really see, I mean, I'm showing you all of these embers. You can really tell how much is being kicked off of this fire right now. And as you see, those engines behind them are still watching that area. If you look out there, you can sometimes see maybe the headlamps of some of the crews, and you can really tell that part of it. Now, this valley is really been an area that fire departments have been watching for a while, kind of moving throughout this canyon readily. Zoom back up to this area up here. Again, you can see that, you know, there are, it is very bright up in this area, a lot more smoke being kicked off, and you can see the embers. If I zoom in a little closer, you can see the embers start to kick off as well. But no flames above the treetops. So, burning slightly below the treetops on this one. But you can still see all those embers being kicked off, and that's the dangerous part of all of this. So I'm going to pan back out and show you one last look at this whole area. As you can see, fire personnel really doing a great job to save that home down in that valley. And it really seems like they put in a very valiant effort in terms of their firefight and in terms of what they may have done for that home down there. I mean, I watched them surround that home and cut line around it, as well as, you know, throw every resource they could. And this area is not easy to get to. There aren't roads down here so much as into those areas up in here. They're more like dirt paths and hiking trails and fire roads that are not very safe to climb in terms of engines, but these guys are awesome. They're professionals, and they really are doing a good job keeping as much of this safe as possible. So we're going to continue to stay in this canyon here and continue to watch the front lines of this fire, looking much better than it did earlier tonight. You've seen some images throughout this of those firefights, but of course this is still a very active scene, still a very important firefight, but fire crews getting a really, really good handle on it and quelching those flames pretty well. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and toss it back to you in studio and continue to watch the front lines of this fire.
Okay.